Yo, what it do, YouTube? It's your boy Cartier Double OJ coming at y'all boys with another video. I'm not gonna lie, I tried to record this video already, but the audio was cruised, so I have to re-record it. It's more of like it's kind of like a freestyle, you know what I mean? Just get some thoughts out. I'm not gonna lie, I was sitting here for a while. I was sitting here on OBS for like an hour, just trying to build up the courage to actually hit record. Um, it took me a while, I had to hop on TikTok and after they called me a piece of shit a couple times, I was like, all right, it's time to just hit record and just get over being anxious and being nervous on clicking record. Um, that's something I kind of want to talk about. You know what I mean? It's just like um, when I was scrolling on TikTok, I seen this video and they were like, it's such a weird place in your life when you feel like everybody's encouraging you. I apologize, and everybody's telling you how good of a job you're doing, and you look yourself in the mirror and you really don't feel like you're doing anything. You don't feel like you're progressing at all. You kind of feel just stuck in the same place, and I just want people to know that you, you guys are definitely not the only ones. There's a lot of people out there that kind of just feel like they have nowhere to go. They're just stuck doing the same thing over and over every day, and I seen a quote where it was like, "Change is scary," which it is, because change is like it makes you nervous. It gives you a little bit of anxiety because you never really know what's gonna happen next. You can't predict the future. You can't see into the future, so you get anxious and you kind of get some um, nervousness, like not knowing what's next. But what's even scarier is um, not changing at all and just being stuck in the same place forever. It's like a double edged sword. It's either you get over the fear of not knowing what's next, or you get complacent and just get stuck in a miserable cycle of just doing the same thing every day and feeling empty. And I just want people to know that they're not alone. You know what I mean? It's just like a lot of times, you sit in your bed, or you're wherever you're at night, and your thoughts just start eating you alive a little bit, and it's just they take over everything about you. You can't think straight. You start thinking about all the negative things, and you kind of overwhelm yourself with your thoughts and your emotions, and honestly, you make yourself sick. Maybe not physically sick, but like mentally sick. You know what I mean? And you start giving yourself a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression, a lot of anxiousness, and it's just like these are normal emotions for everybody to go through, but you got to find a better way to deal with them, and you know um just kind of figure out what goals you do have and where you do want to go with your life, because there's a lot of life left to be lived. So you know what I mean. Don't ever feel like you're stuck in one place, or feel like that there's never a next step, or really feel like you're alone, because there's a lot of people going through the same exact thing as you are. And that's kind of why I made this YouTube channel. You know what I mean? It's just like I just want to be well, I'm just a normal dude in front of a camera who just wants to be able to relate to other people, and be able to build a community and make people feel welcome. And you know, I've been stuck in the same place for a while, and it's just like you know, I got a lot of good things going for me. Don't get me wrong, and it's like I'm grateful for every one of those opportunities. But at the same time, I want to be able to feel like my voice and my opinion matters, and be able to connect with some people. And if I could do that through a webcam and a mic, or whatever it may be, um, I'm gonna do my best to make it happen. But um, I see a lot of these people like on the internet, and it's just like um, I don't know. I don't know what else I was trying to say right there. My bad. I'm like I got off track a little bit, but it's just like I don't know. You get caught in a nasty cycle of just waking up and going through the motions all the time, and it's just like eventually you're going through the motions, but you're emotionless. I just dropped a bar right there. Shout out to whoever. I'm not a rapper though. Shout out to Super Hot Fire. There we go. But you're waking up every day and you're in the present, but you're empty. At the same time, and it's just like um it's a scary feeling for sure. You know what I mean? But at the same time, um, you got to be there for yourself. You got to focus on yourself. You know what I mean? You have to want to get better for things to actually change. That's the big thing. Is like you could have the best support system around you. You could have the whatever around you. You could have everything you want in life, and it's just like if you don't want to get better yourself, you know, you'll never be able to achieve that. And it's just like it's such a hard thing though, because it's such a chore just waking up every single day and um not even wanting to, because there's a lot of days where you're not gonna want to do anything, but just having the ability and the strength to just go out and do the things you don't want just because you know it's gonna make you better at the end of the day. And it's just like that's the thing I struggle with every day still. And it's just like no, I didn't even like I said, I didn't even want to click record on this video. I was sitting here for like an hour just debating if I even really wanted to record, and it's just like I was debating if I even wanted to. I was just like, I might as well just delete all my videos because a lot of times I just seen a clip of Black Boy Max. Shout out to Black Boy Max, where he was talking about his start to his YouTube journey and how he had a lot of videos that flopped at the very beginning. He was in the back of his parents' car, like pretty much in tears, just feeling like he was just talking to himself, just making content for himself, and that's kind of the place I'm at right now. You know, I feel like I could always put in some more work, but I feel like a lot of times I'm just making videos for myself, just really talking to myself on this camera. You know, I gotta shout out to my family, shout out to some of my friends. I got 14 subscribers right now, but um, that ain't really shit. You know what I mean? You see all these people with these millions of subscribers, and I'm just like, it feels like such a long distance away. But I know as long as I keep putting in the work, it's gonna get there. But um, it is kind of like it's hard to stay motivated when when you just feel like you're talking to yourself and you're really just making content for nobody. You know what I mean? I'm like, I feel like I'm really the only person watching these videos at the end of the day. But I'm gonna try to my best to connect and build a community with some people that feel the same way and be able to use my voice and really guide some people in the right direction. That's the main thing, because there's a lot of people that do this stuff just for that. That's what I was gonna say earlier. When I got cut off a little bit because I kind of got sidetracked. Is um, there's a lot of people on this internet just doing this shit for fame or money or doing it for whatever they want to do. And don't get me wrong, you know what I mean. You got to pay the bills and make sure things are squared off. But um, I want to be able to really feel like my voice and my opinion matters and really build a community where people can feel welcomed and feel like they have somebody that they could relate to at the end of the day, because there's a lot of people out here just struggling, going through normal everyday shit that all they need is just somewhere where they feel heard and they feel welcomed, and it can be something as simple as that to just really just spark them to get on the right track and start taking care of themselves and start really looking out for themselves. And it's like um I know shout out to King So, So Illuminati. He just came back, and I've been seeing some memes around the internet, people saying that people are dick sucking and all types of stuff, saying don't forget the balls, all types of shit. Saying that everybody's just been gawking him since he's been back. But I mean he really was a big inspiration for me even starting this channel, and just the inspiration in life to just get on the right page and really start taking care of myself and kind of open my eye to a lot of things, and it's like I know he hates the fact that people be calling him Unc, but he really is Unc, you know what I mean? He's giving out wisdom and sharing his life experiences and his mess or his I apologize, like showing learning from his mistakes and being able to give guidance to the youth. And that's why I like, as much as you might be able to go back on some old videos, well, not even some old videos, some of my other videos, and be able to see, I'd be shouting out So a lot, but it's like he really is an inspiration. I mean, he trust me. Don't get me wrong. He has his moments where he was just trying to pay his bills and get his little views and his money, but he took some time to like really get his mental right, and he was coming back, dropping some wisdom for us, and like really trying to guide people in the right direction. And I always will respect that, and I always condemn that. You know what I mean? Because it's like there's a lot of people with the platform that don't really care, you know what I mean? And so is one of those people that is using his platform to really voice his opinion, whether you agree with it or not, and really take the time to give some wisdom to some people that could really need it, at the end of the day. You never know who you're gonna reach through with on this internet shit, and it could be as simple as just connecting with one dude over the internet, and you could change his life forever. So it's just like the idea of that in my head is just like something that I would like always wanted. I want to be able to really just connect with some people and really make an impact on certain people's lives. And I've seen it happen before where it's just like as simple as you got a camera and a mic, and you sit here bullshitting for however long, and you upload it, and all of a sudden you get some clicks and some likes, and you start building a community of people who feel the same type of way about certain things, and you guys turn up and go crazy. And that's really all I'm trying to do is just build a place where people could feel like they matter, and create some content, and really turn this shit up, and make some entertaining videos for you guys along the way. And um hopefully I'll be able to look back at this one day in a couple years or whatever, and laugh at the fact that I had 14 subscribers, and I was sitting here struggling, thinking about if I even really want to do this or not. But at the end of the day, I'm never gonna give up. I'm gonna keep going, and I'm gonna try to figure out how to get this shit done. Because like I said, I feel like I have more of a purpose here, and it's just like, do I really want to be stuck doing the same thing forever, feeling miserable? As good as I do have things, you know, uh, there's always more to life. You got to be able to enjoy um, the fruits of your labor along the way, though. Don't ever get caught, um, just get caught up in just working and always wanting more, because you'll never be able to enjoy what you do have in the meantime if you're always like caught up worrying about like what's the next thing, and oh, I could have more, and or whatever the case may be. Um, there's I feel like I get guilty of it too, but we get caught in nostalgia. I'm looking at this 2K gameplay, and I'm thinking how trash this shit is, and thinking about how good the old 2Ks are. But sometimes you get caught in nostalgia, and you look back at the old times, and it's just like you only look back at the positive though for the most part. You never really remember how shitty things were at the time unless they was like really bad, and it's just like um for the most part you just kind of remember the good things that were happening during that time, and it's just like uh there's no time like the present, to be honest. And it's like until you could be able to appreciate present time and be able to appreciate the things that are happening around you, you know what I mean? And don't stress out about the past, and don't stress about the future, because those are both things you can never change. Um, just worry about being in the present, being able to appreciate the smaller things. If whether you have a nice roof over your head, or you have nice things in your house, or you have a nice family, or you have people that really care about you. You know what I mean? Things could always be a lot worse, and it's like at the end of the day, life is really uh, a perspective thing. If you feel like things are shitty, and you feel like things are never going your way, and you have such a negative mindset on everything, your life is going to be miserable for the rest of your life. I guarantee you could take an instance where some bitter people that are never going to be able to appreciate anything, and they're just going to be miserable for the rest of their life. And then you could look at another person where they're super optimistic, and they might not even have anything going for them, but they could have a cardboard box for a house, and you know they're just grateful to be here and grateful to be alive every day. And those are some of the happiest people ever. And it's just like you go through this battle with your thoughts, and and these struggles of kind of trying to dictate what you're doing in life. And it's just like until you're able to really appreciate just life itself, just being able to wake up and just realizing it's a blessing to even just be here, and you know acknowledging that things could be better, but they could always be worse at the same time. Like, you'll never be happy. So it's just like, I don't know, bear with me a little bit. Like I said, it's a freestyle. I'm over here just bullshitting. So if I'm struggling to articulate my thoughts, or I stutter a little bit here, bear with me a little bit. But I don't know. Like I said, I'm just another kid on in front of a camera, just hoping to connect with some people. And it's just like I don't know what to say no more. I'm like, I'm over here just watching this trash ass gameplay. Shout out to, not even shout out. I'm definitely not shouting out Mike Wing or Ronnie. The game is so trash, but um, that's why I always rocked with the 2K community. You know what I mean? Because it was like, as trash as this game was, and as trash as everything is, and you know, they were able to come together and turn up and go crazy real quick for certain occasions. And there's a lot of people in this industry that are came from the 2K community, and it's just like I look at that and I'm just like, that's something I want. You know what I mean? Being able to bring a group of people together, whether it be over a video game or being able to bring together some people over just these random videos that I made on the internet. Just being able to go crazy with them and um, just like I said already. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm just kind of repeating myself at this point. But um, I don't know what else I got to say. To be honest, I might just end this video soon. But if you guys feel any type of way about anything, you know what I mean? Just remember there's always light at the end of the tunnel. Um, it's a long process, but you'll always be able to get to where you want to. That's the thing though, is you're gonna want to have change. You know what I mean? You have uh, holy shit, I can't talk right now. What was I gonna say? My bad. I'm like I got distracted. You got to take action for change to actually occur. I feel like that's the hardest part. It's a chore. Like honestly, I struggle every day just getting up, and I don't even have motivations to get up most of the days. You know what I mean? And I feel like motivation is such a weird thing because I don't even really feel like it's real. Like, you know what I mean? It just kind of comes and goes. Um, but sometimes you just got to get up and just do things that you don't want to do. And as silly as it sounds, like sometimes just getting out of bed and just getting your day going is just hard. But um, you gotta want better for yourself. You gotta be able to strive for better things and want change to actually happen. Because if not, you just get caught in this constant loop of just going through the motions, and it might be cool for now, but eventually you're gonna look back in the future and be like, realize how miserable you are just doing the same thing over and over. So I hope that this video could help some people like relate, maybe connect a little bit. Maybe keep them motivated to keep pursuing whatever they're pursuing, whether it be a job or maybe getting in the gym or whatever it may be. But I think that's it. I'll catch y'all boys later.